Welcome to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast, where we hear stories from fellow seamstresses just like you. We're able to share their success stories. We learn from wedding industry pros for the best business tips, and we get to hear from fellow sewists and crafters to hopefully inspire our creativity and our love for sewing. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a bridal seamstress, I'd also like to invite you to check out our Bridal Seamstress business membership. We have a community of women that can testify to the power of genuine connection, friendship, vulnerability, the power of our six-figure seamstress method, and a genuine connection found in a business mentorship like this. All right, let's dive into the episode. Friends, welcome back to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast. Welcome back to our Six-Figure Friday series of our little shorty episodes. This is our first Six-Figure Friday episode of the year. And if you're on my email list, you have already received this tip in your inbox a couple weeks ago. This is a subject that, as entrepreneurs, it's not super exciting to talk about. Many of us just like to ignore it and pretend that it doesn't exist. Some of you may just be kicking this down the road because the thought of learning more about this subject or diving in just feels super overwhelming, and it feels so much safer to just pretend it doesn't exist. I'm talking about retirement planning, okay? Investing in your future, opening up that Roth IRA that you've heard people talk about, but you don't really know what it is. And so it's easier just to ignore those things and hope that when you are ready to stop working, you will have money somehow. And I get it. If you are listening and you're like, oh my gosh, that's totally me, let me first just calm your nerves because you are totally not alone. I think a lot of small business owners just around the world, not just bridal seamstresses, this topic for small business owners can feel very daunting and very overwhelming. And because of that, we just can choose to put it off and put it off. And before we know it, a whole nother year is going to go by and we have nothing in our retirement accounts. So I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to listen to this little 10-minute episode and feel like you have a plan to just get the ball rolling. So the first thing I want you to know is you don't need to know anything. There are so many professionals in the world that are so good at saving for retirement. They know all the lingo that you do not need to know. There are some podcasts out there that you can listen to. There are some books that you can pick up, or you can listen to some audiobooks so you feel a bit more informed. But I think the biggest thing I want you to take away from this episode is you really do not need to understand how retirement planning works. And I may embarrass myself by saying this, but I don't really know how it works. I don't know. Like, I know who helps me and I know what I need to know to get things done, but I am not putting any pressure on myself to learn more than I absolutely need to know right now because my brain is so full of all these other things that's going on in my life and in my business that I'm okay having someone else tell me what to do. Okay, so that's the number one thing. You don't need to know anything, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a loser, and it doesn't make you any less of a successful business owner if you don't know these terms. Okay. Number two, you do not need to have a huge amount of money to start saving for retirement. I think we have this thought that, you need like $50,000 to get some kind of retirement plan going, or you need to have this big lump sum to open up a portfolio that's super impressive and that'll gain traction quickly or whatever. You do not need that. You do not need to have a huge lump sum. Okay. The basic, I shouldn't say basic, but yeah, I like the starter plan for a retirement plan for small business owners, at least in the United States, would be considered an IRA or a Roth IRA. Both of those, they actually cap out at $7,500 a year. So you can't show up saying like, oh, I want to put $20,000 into my IRA. That it doesn't work that way. So you will be capped at $7,500 a year. So that means it's kind of doable. Also, you don't even need to invest that much per year. You can put in as much as feels comfortable for your current business. So I don't want you to feel like a certain amount is holding you back or the knowledge is holding you back. Okay, so I want to just give you two more steps to get the ball rolling so that you can literally finish up this episode and do the thing and then feel good about it come Monday. Okay. So the first step is to call somebody else who knows more about financial planning than you do. Okay. So you could maybe go on Facebook and be that person who's like, hey, who has a good retirement or a financial planner or a financial advisor that you would recommend to me. You could, if you're in like a networking group with other business owners, you could ask the same question. You could ask, your parents who they use. There are probably literally hundreds of people in your own personal network that could help you find a financial advisor. And what that does is it takes all the pressure off of you for having to know any of the lingo or any of the stats or any of the abbreviations or whatever. I don't know. You don't need to know that stuff, okay? What you need to know is somebody else who knows the things and that you can trust, okay? They can explain things to you, takes the pressure off, okay? The second thing I want you to do is call that person and make an appointment with them. Okay. Did you need to play that again? Call them and make an appointment. So don't worry. Like when you make the appointment, there's actually no pressure to open an account at that appointment. All you're doing is you're opening yourself up to learning more about this process and you're learning what you need to do to open up a retirement account. So by making this appointment, you are not, promising anybody any amount of money. You're not even promising yourself that you're going to do the thing. You're just going to set an appointment, set aside a specific time so that you can meet with somebody who knows more about investing than you do. All you have to do is show up. Okay. So the, you have to do very little here. Just make the phone call, make the appointment, and show up. Okay. So the appointment is probably going to go something like this. You are going to be taught what these different type of accounts look like. You're probably going to be introduced to the two different kinds of IRAs. You're going to be taught what, a well-rounded portfolio looks like. And you do not need to memorize these terms. You just want to be familiar with what the terms are and with what the next steps will be, but you're not going to be quizzed on it. And it's like just a very low, what is low risk, okay? Because you're just sitting there and you're listening. And you can do this. You can totally do this. These appointments are free. So you can make the appointment, you can sit there, you can get the information for free. You're also going to learn in that appointment how much money you would need to start the account. And guess what? Sometimes it's just 500 bucks. Sometimes it's even less. And you get to decide on how you as an individual are going to grow your retirement account. So I like to do automatic withdrawals the first of every month because I know like if I don't plan on that money being there in my bank, I'm not going to make any like financial goals based on money that should be going towards retirement. So for me, I have these automatic withdrawals that come out the first of the month that go to my different accounts. And I don't have to think about it. What I did to get that set up is I met with somebody that I trusted who was recommended to me by other friends who I trust. They told me what would make the most sense for my business. And they also told me that I can change as my business grows. So when I first opened my accounts with my current financial advisor, it was a little different for me because I already had a retirement account with the school district that I worked with. So I had this like lump of money that I brought over with me and I transferred it to this private firm, okay, as opposed to the firm that like my school district worked with, okay? So my money got transferred over. I know that's a little bit different, but after that, I had a conversation about, what other accounts I could open because they understood my numbers. They knew, okay, I have busy seasons, I have slow seasons. What would make sense for me to invest consistently without it like really affecting my ability to save for slow season or whatever? What would be a comfortable amount for me to put away every month, even in my slow season? Okay. So you're going to have like a similar conversation with your financial advisor that you meet with, and your plan is going to be different than mine because your business is different than mine. But what we both have in common is that we are committing to putting a consistent amount of money away each month. So for you, it might be like $100 a month, just gets automatically withdrawn. And you might feel like, okay, $100, like that's not a ton. But you got to remember what retirement accounts actually do, and they multiply over time or they compound over time. So the sooner that you can start this retirement account, the more time you're giving that money to compound. So you really do want to get started as soon as possible. That's why I want to take any restrictions, or not restrictions, yeah, resistance. Okay. That's why I want to take any resistance off your plate. Like, you don't need to know what you're talking about and you don't need to have a huge amount of money. Just get the thing going. And the sooner you start, the more time even your small amount of money will have to compound. Okay. So I want you to have a plan for next week with like the least amount of resistance. Like you don't need to know what you're talking about and you don't need to have a huge sum of money. But what I want you to start doing is just saving a small amount of money each month because you're giving that money more time to compound, which is such a gift to yourself. And I'll also say that once you start that account for your future, you're already going to feel more confident in your skills, in your money saving skills. Even if you're like, I have $200 in my future retirement account. Well, that's 200 bucks that you didn't have last week. Okay. So you're going to feel cool. You're going to feel more empowered. And most importantly, you're going to have someone in your corner, your financial advisor, who's going to be around to answer your questions. And you're going to know that you can like make an appointment to go in the office and talk about the next steps. You'll know that you're not doing it alone. And I think that is the number one thing that holds small business owners back or holds bridal seamstresses back from starting their financial planning because they feel alone and they feel like, okay, I'm already having to overcome all these other, business struggles and teach myself all these skills that I didn't have before I started my business. And I don't have the bandwidth to like figure out how to save money for retirement. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just make an appointment with somebody who knows more than you do and get the ball rolling. So it's like a two-step process. I think you have it down. Make the appointment, show up. Oh, 3 steps. If you want to, start an account, but it's not going to happen before you make that appointment. So, and this isn't even a sponsored episode, okay? I don't even have someone for you that I'm like, oh, contact this person. I mean, I guess I could throw somebody in the show notes, but it won't be a sponsored name. I just want you to do this for yourself because you're going to feel so good once you get this started. So we're actually talking about this subject a lot within our SBS membership throughout the month of February. So we're talking about retirement funding, how to feel more confident with stocks and what does that even mean to like invest in stocks, and are you ready to do that? Do you go through a financial advisor for that, or do you just do this on your own? And then we're going to continue the conversation by talking about seasonal savings and how to plan your quarterly income, because we know that as a bridal seamstress it's going to go up and down based on busy season and slow season, and we want to make sure that we're buffering the slow season with some promotions that we can plan ahead of time so that we're giving ourselves the gift of revenue coming in throughout the year. So it's a really exciting time of the year to be thinking about, okay, financial planning now, as opposed to thinking about that planning come November when, oh my goodness, it's almost the end of the year and where's all my money? And I didn't stash away as much as I wish I had. This is the time to consider the savings. And taking a step further, I want you to consider your long-term savings. And I just want you to feel more confident in your future because you deserve it. You're putting in so many hours. You put in so much time and energy as a bridal seamstress. And I don't want you to forget about this huge, important part of your future. And that is meeting with your new financial advisor. You're going to be doing yourself a big favor, okay? Let me know if you have questions. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know, but I can point you in the direction of somebody who does know more than me. But this was just your little encouragement to get the ball rolling, okay? So I'm a resource for you if you need help with it. Let me know if you started the account, if you opened the account. We just had today an SBS member, she opened her first Roth IRA account. So we all did a little happy dance for her because it was a big deal. And it's like, okay, I'm finally going to do the thing, okay? So it's your turn next. Go ahead and open the account. And when you do, let me know so I can send you some like celebratory emojis. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I will see you on Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in to our 6-Figure Friday tip of the week.